Today we're going to cover the forehand. Just want to give you a couple of pointers on the forehand, and yeah, so stay with me, guys. If you have any questions, that's a Q&A, means question and answer for the forehands. And a couple of cool things. I have this grip pin here, which is an amazing tool. Got that from on court, off court. And so like guys, talking about the forehand, finding the right grip. Best thank you, danke. So look, this thing is amazing. It's called grip. I call it grip pin. You can put that thing on the racket of your student. So you just put it between the index finger and the middle finger. You find the grip you want to use for your student. So let's say, you know, I'm gonna go with a very strong Eastern, super weak semi-Western, and I put this thing on, it has Velcro on, and it's right there. So now when I put the finger in there, I have the desired grip to hit the forehand. So that's always helping. Very cool tool. If you have any questions about that, send me a message. And I'll let you know how to get it. And obviously, with Tennis Haus, you guys get a big discount for that. But that's not why I'm here. I just use that a lot for my students so I can determine the grip. If you don't have something like this, and you have to go old school and you have to explain your students how to hold the grip. So if you are a beginner player, you don't have a coach around, you know, that's one simple thing. You just put the racket on the ground. That's the easiest way. You go like this from the top and pick the racket up. So it's going to give you like a strong Eastern grip for the beginning. You know, that's for the players that are just starting to play. If not, you can work with the index knuckle and the heel pad. And yeah, if you put it on bevel number 3, you're going to have a pretty bevel. If you look at the bevel, it's 1, 2, 3. If you put it on 3, which is the side, you have a pretty good Eastern. You go down one more, you have a semi-Western. You go one more down, you have a Western. So any question you have with the grips, you know, I'll answer that. I just want to go through a couple important checkpoints on the forehand, especially for beginners. When you play, you have to have in mind to have a really good forehand. So this is the Touchscreen Pro. I use that for the demos because it's the easiest way. It has a ball attached and I can show the contact point. Super easy. So guys, it all starts, no matter which level you are, it all starts with the split step. You cannot neglect the split step. So if you do not split, then you cannot change direction. You don't know where the ball is coming. So you need a good split step. When you split, you need to have a good wide base so you can go either way. That is number 1. The next thing is so important. As soon as you see where the ball is coming after the split, you need to make sure that you rotate your upper body against the lower body. What I like to do, I do that, guys. If you are a really good player, you know, you can skip this. I just want to make sure the base, what we teach, is all like from beginner to intermediate, a couple of advanced players, and I just find it so important to teach the basics, because without the basics, you don't get anything well done. So the key is that after the split, that you make sure you rotate your upper against the lower body. What I like to do with my students, to get the racket straight out, comfortable stance, and let them rotate right and left against their lower body. So you see the range of motion, and they actually feel when you stop them now, that here is like, that there's a pre-stretch in the muscles. And that feel, that's what they need to feel. So when they hear, then I tell them to replace this with the actual holding the racket. So they have this turn, so now they're coiled. Once they get this, then they're setting the foot. And then I go further and further. So the turn is important. Remember that your left arm, your left hand is so important. So you don't know where the ball is coming, right? So I'm a one-hander, so I hold my racket like this, I split. So I hold it automatically with the forehand grip. If it comes to my backhand as a one-hander now, I just turn the racket. And then you turn the racket, if you're one-hander, you just open this hand and you turn the racket in your hands. So, the racket, when you change the grip, turns in your hands. You always keep your hand like this, and the racket is what changes in your hands. It's not your wrist position. A lot of beginner players do that, mess that up. So if you have a neutral grip at the beginning and you want to go to a forehand grip, you open the hand up basically a little bit, not as much as I do in the video, and then you open the hand up and turn it to your left much until you find the right grip. And that's it. So basically that happens when you split, and when you turn now, you change the grip to forehand, and the left hand adjusts the racket angle you're going to hold here. Some players are here, some have the elbow up. You know, it depends what style you like and how you hit the most successful forehand. So when you're out here now, you set. And then this is one of the most important things. Why does Roger or Rafa or Novak or team, there you barely see them framing the ball, not hitting it at the right spot on the strings, because they're early prepared. So they split at the right moment and they're ready. Too many players at the beginner level, intermediate players, the ball is coming, they run first to the ball and then they get jammed and hit that ball. You can avoid all that if you split and turn early. So I always tell my players, you split, you turn, then your feet, wherever the ball is, your feet are searching the ball. So when I do that with the demo here, I split turn, I adjust my feet until I'm at the right place, and then I hit it. Here, and I go. So the feet are searching for the ball, but you need to split and turn. So we got that. And I always, when you go, you split the turn, we said that, we search the ball. Perfect distance to the contact point is about where the front toes are. That's kind of where you want to hit the ball, because when we're in front here, if I go here, our wrist helps us to manipulate that ball, I call it. So we have this finger here, the index finger, which is, I call the trigger finger. Say, if you're one of the players that holds the racket like this, like a fist, you will not have any feel. You know, and then the questions, guys, I'm going to go through them in a second. I just want to go through this. You're not going to get any feel if you have like a fist here. We have this finger a little bit spread, and you feel those things on the grip here, so that's where you put them on. And now with the finger spread a little bit, now when I contact in front of me actually, this finger is doing most of the work, so you feel actually that shot. And you feel the finger and you manipulate, I call it manipulating the ball however you need it to be successful to go over. So on the forehand, the finger, the index finger is very important, guys. So most players mess balls up because their backswing is too big, right? So it's more simple, you can keep it, it's easier going to have it. So when you look at the shots from the pros, one's there in the lag position, which is the position when you're here, you drop the racket, and then the hips snap in, and you're about to go forward. So when the butt cap points forward, from that moment on, until the point of contact, every shot looks the same. The racket head is now below the ball, and you go up on that ball. So this part here is the same for any player. Where all the mess up is on that backswing, right? And at contact, how much we move our body, and on the follow through. But it's not, this part is the same. So it's on the backswing to help the players, especially beginner and intermediate. So if you have a compact backswing, so in Australia they have, I think, 5 levels of backswing. So that's, I like that, I picked it up. So number 1 backswing would be till here, number 2 to here, 3, 4, 5 is a very big backswing, and when you contact, the follow through is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can work with the numbers with the players. So let's say I take a level 3 backswing, which is a compact backswing to me, which is like 1, 2, 3. Work with numbers. So 3 is the backswing, and then when you hit the ball, you go to a 3 follow through. That's kind of in the middle. But too many players have a 5 backswing, and then all of a sudden the ball is here and they're jammed. So that's not going to work anymore. I would go for sure the beginner intermediate level, level 3 backswing, level 3 follow through, just as a guideline. Every ball is different, right? So if you run to the net and you're a couple of feet from the net, you're not going to have a 5 backswing, right? You're not going to have a 4. You're going to have probably a 2 and you go to a 3 because you're so close to the other side. So it depends later on where you stand on the court and which position you are. But key is that you understand that you have those levels, and as more compact you keep it, as easier for you is not to mess up. So let's say we get to the contact, right? So this is our contact point. Remember what we all look, when we look at Federer, what is the first thing that sticks to our mind when he hits the ball? That he's still with the head, right? And when I was younger, my coaches always told me, you're right there, and he stays with the ball, and then he finishes right here, but he stays, his eyes are on the ball. Because if you move now, if you move your head, right, on the contact here, I move anything, you see how my contact point is not the perfect contact point where it changes. And then I'll tell always my players as well, your back has to be, you know, you have to have a good line, a good center of gravity, you have to be low, and when you hit, you know, you go and you follow, you hit and freeze. I always tell my players to make sure that they have a good control on the shots. So we talked about the contact, the still head, and then the follow through. Guys, the follow through, as I mentioned before, the backswing, it doesn't matter where you follow through, you have different follow throughs. So sometimes when we go and we're pushed out and I want to pass them short, drop short, so I shorten my backswing and then I go, of course, from pocket to pocket. So sometimes you have to hit like this to hit a short angled ball. Then sometimes someone comes to the net, I'm on my back foot and I have to lob and I go a little bit higher. And on a regular ball, I maybe end here on my shoulder. All those are different. So when you hit a forehand, you know, when you look at Rafa when he hits, he has always a bruise on his arm here when he hits because he goes always through here. So it depends everybody has a different finish. But again, for recreational players and intermediate player, the early preparation and searching the ball is the most important in the shot. And then cutting the take back a little bit in half maybe, controlling the ball. And I always say, when you hit the forehand, if I go and hit it in contact, I tell them that the palm of my hand stays with the ball. It's just like, you know, visualizing that the palm of the hand stays as long as it can, and then you go around. Another misconception is, when you look at the players, they think, you know, and it's taught still a lot, you contact here and go straight here without any forward extension. No, you always, doesn't matter if you have a semi-western, if you have a western, a semi-western, or a continental, when you hit the ball, as more the grip goes to a western, as more angular momentum you're going to have, but you still, even with a western, you still go out and then they roll it completely over. You're going to use your hips probably a little bit more, and as more you go to a western, as more angular momentum, circular momentum, your shot is going to have. But on all of them, no matter who's hitting the ball, when you contact the ball, you always go out a little bit. So you go out and up, and then you finish over the shoulder. And as a measurement, what I like to do with my players, when you're done with the shot, you can put a volleyball under your armpits. So that shows me that you really went up and around. So because if too many players keep the elbow in at the beginning and they hit those T-Rex shots, if your elbow is tucked in, you can't control the ball. And where does it all start? At the beginning in the preparation. So you split, have the arms out, because if you have your arms tucked in already, you're going to have internal rotation here and you're going to slap the ball. Have the arms a little bit out. Sometimes it helps the players to get the elbow out to stay on the side, right? Because we don't want to go too far around here. So you can keep the elbow out and you hit the ball in front of you, or if you don't need that, you're here. So now when you look at the pros, like Federer for example, he's here, and then he drops the strings point down and he pulls from here, and then the grip goes first and then the racket head catches up. Novak, for example, with his strong semi-western, he goes back and the strings point to the fence, then he goes down and then he hits it. So that's different for any player. I teach personally that I like to be everything on the right side, and even when they go down here, it's all on the hitting side, I call that. My students, what I explain to them, so if you have a line here, you're with me here, so I'll call this the power line, so they can be here, and they can be anywhere here they want, I don't care. But they're not getting around there, because here is the power line for the shot. So they're here, and I'll tell them to be funny with Karate Kid, right? wax on, wax off. So when they're here, they can do everything they want here, and then they start to pull from here and hit it. And that is very important because junior players think they get the power, and that's a mistake, from getting too far around. They think they have more power if they hit like this, but in the end of the day, they're going to miss more balls because there's no control over the ball. They only go and slap the ball. And one really amazing tip I picked up a couple of years ago. If this is a good practice wall here, and the tip of the racket right here stays on that wall, and stays all the time on that wall, and you shadow that, that's going to help you to keep the ball, your arms on that right side. So that you don't have to be completely here. You can go a little bit around, but it gets bad if it's like really like here. And a lot of players do that to get more power over the shot. Okay, so let's now talk a lot. I will go back to questions now. So the last question I see, do you recommend a smaller grip size for a stronger topspin forehand? So grip size, guys, the grip should not be too small. So because if you hit off the sweet spot, off the center, you have a lot of racket movement in your hands then, right? So that's not good. And the grip cannot be too fat, because if it's too big, you can't control it. So you have to find for your hand the perfect grip. So when I tell my players, when you look at my hands here, you know, I like to say, that's just my 2 cents. If the thumb is around a little bit over the nails here, you know, that's pretty good. You know, it's not too small and it's not too big. Remember, you don't want to have it too big, you don't want to have it too small of a grip, because if you hit off center on the small one, it's going to slide in your hands. Thank you guys, yeah. I appreciate you as well. And so many Hispanohablantes. Sometimes for a return to the court from Chile, can we have some tips on the kick serve? Yeah, so I'm going to do the forehand session now. I'm going to go in the next session is going to be backhand, then I try to do the serve after that. So I'm going to do like 25-minute sessions today. Thank you for the effort to present so great content. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. How to better grip and not to lose when forcing. Yeah, good. Coach, can you show us technique of the forehand volley? Not the volley today, just the forehand for now. Shoot me some more questions, guys. If not, I'm going to keep talking a little bit. ¿Qué tanto fue como usar topspin? Yeah, you know, how is it on a higher altitude? Yeah, you want to put a little bit more round per minute on this, so the ball doesn't fly out. As high you are, the ball sails more out. I don't know if if you never played in high altitude, you know, as higher the altitude, the ball sail a little bit more out. You like that racket to release at the end. I see some errors when the edge isn't up. Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the shot, as I said, it's preference. When I'm done on a regular shot, I want to end up somewhere here. And it doesn't have to be like this all the time. It depends what shot you hit. On a regular shot, I end up like here. Sometimes if I roll it more, I might end up more here. But I think it's more important on the backhand. On the forehand side, I feel we're stronger, and I can even go like this. On the backhand, when you look at Novak, almost every backhand, he's like here, almost in a 90 degree, and the racket is up like this. On the forehand, I feel like it depends on which situations you are in the match to hit that. What is better, a big racket or a little racket? So if you're a strong person, you have a lot of power, you know, you can go 98 square inches on the racket. You can have 104, there are rackets out there with 104. I think Serena plays 104. It depends totally. If you have already a lot of power, I would go with a 98 probably. I want to string it a little bit tighter. If you're like a skinny person that wants to create power, I'll maybe go with 104 and put a little bit less string tension in there. The racket pointing to the back. Yeah, I mean, like Sinner. Yeah, I know. So yes, so that's a good point. Like I said earlier, Novak as well. When they go back, they have the racket. That's what the question was. The new gen, when they have the racket face pointing back, and they all have like a semi-western, a strong semi-western. You know, so they come from here, then they drop it, and then they hit it. Well, I guess it depends on the style of the player. And for me as a coach, I like to teach the strong Eastern first, and then I like to go, you know, if the player slides down a little bit with the semi-Western. What the problem is with the kids, if the kids go too early with the yellow balls and they're tiny, they hit every ball up here, and that's easier with the semi-Western, Western, right? So that's a big problem. You have to adjust that to your student. So if you have a student that's like tiny and doesn't get the spacing good and hits every ball here, they're gonna switch. You can start them off with the Eastern. They're gonna switch to a Western and hit the ball up here, and then you're gonna have a problem changing it back. So you have to really make sure. Hey Joel, by the way, good friend of mine. Check Joel Meyer out. Joel Myers, awesome content. Yeah. So Western grip, they're gonna change to if they have to hit above the shoulder, and it's hard to change that back. So you have to see what you have in front of you. You like the soft Eastern the best or semi? See the Eastern making? Yeah, I like, personally, I play strong Eastern because I feel like I'm comfortable with the low balls when I run to the net. And you know, if you have a strong semi-Western, you're gonna get, or Western, you're gonna have a harder time approaching. I feel like, and I hope to see again that more players go to the net. And I feel and I hope to see that more players gonna hit better approach shots again and not missing and shanking a lot. So, you know, if you hit a short, low slice and someone comes in with the Western, they're going to struggle. I don't care how good they are and how much they can bend their knees. Someone with the Eastern can roll and manipulate. I call it manipulate the ball better. And so, you know, but, you know, in a perfect world, you should be able to as well to switch and adjust, you know. So that's, I guess, the best thing. What else do we have? Yeah, so, you know, that was on the forehand. I think it's the grip. It's very important. Just watch out if you teach players when they're little and they can't handle a real ball and they hit up here, they're going to change to a Western. But as I said earlier at the beginning, you know, this is from on court, off court. I love that. And I love this thing. I just like to use it because I can put the grip for my students on there, and it's Velcro, and then you just put it on and they can't slip here because the finger is in here. So I like to use it. The grip is so important, and the preparation is very important, obviously. So yeah. All right, guys. So that was, you know, just a little bit checkpoints on the forehand. I'm gonna have a little water break in a second, and then I'm gonna go and continue with the backhand. And as always, guys, check my YouTube channel out, Tennis Haus. Join me there. I have longer videos there. I hope to see a lot of you guys there. And I'll drink a sip and I'll be back in 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Voy a volver dentro de 5 minutos. Voy a beber algo y hacer un video para el revés for the backhand. Guys, so come back. I'm going to do a backhand video for the two-hander and the one-hander. Ask me any questions. And I see you in a minute. And for all of you who have joined, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that.